up, change of pace, a leadership challenge for the National Party as a battle goes on for who will lead the Liberals. Joining me live is former Nationals Minister Peter McGauran, now of course with Bondi Partners. Nothing happening, nothing to see here.
Oh my heavens. We thought the election night was
exhausting.
a big enough shock. But everything since then has really shaken politics fundamentally to its core.
Well, let's unstitch it. Let's go Nationals first. What do you think of Matt Canavan and what he's saying?
Well, Matt Canavan has a very strong following, but it's relatively defined as the Conservative base. His problem is he's a senator, and he's
be unprecedented.
It would be unprecedented. So I can't see Matt Canavan getting up for that reason alone. And otherwise, I think that the Nationals' performance was relatively good compared to the Liberals. I think you can call that one for David Littleproud.
When you talk to sports coaches, you and I both love sport. They love having the opportunity to pick two informed players, or that's a good problem to have. The Liberals don't have a lot of options right now.
Well, Susan Lee and Angus Taylor both have their merit.
They've got their merit, but it's not a long line of potential.
No, and the big thing will be how do they keep the party together? They seem to be pitching themselves to different spectrums in the party. Susan Lee, the more moderate, supposedly, and Angus Taylor, the more conservative. And to an extent, that is right. Question is, do you go for a woman? Is that more healing? The problem for either one of them will be to unite the party, and Dutton was brilliant at that. He really got everyone in the Liberal Party behind him. He managed people extremely well. So whoever wins has got a devil of a job ahead.
It was a blunder of a campaign, though, wasn't it? And this was a 6-year win for Anthony Albanese. It'd be very, very difficult to claw back seats in 3 years, or that many seats.
Oh, exactly right, Tim. The Liberals now have to win 30 seats. So, of course, it's two-term. They couldn't even win while they went backwards this election. Probably 72 hours before polling day, it dawned on us we couldn't win, and the best thing we could hope for was to be competitive for the next election. Well, didn't even achieve that.
I think everyone clear-minded thought that Peter Dutton's concession speech was really wonderfully crafted. It was him at his best. In contrast to Adam Bandt, did you see his speech when he was saying goodbye? And he couldn't help but say that people hated Peter Dutton. It really did not hit the right chord.
You're right on both counts. Peter Dutton's speech, an exit from politics, was gracious and dignified, but Adam Bandt is an ideological warrior, an extremist who sees the world as made up of those who are evil and those who are good. Green's good, everybody else evil. So no, I've got no time for a person like Bandt, and good riddance.
Clive Palmer spent $60 to $70 million. We were getting all these text messages. I'm thinking, how do I block this number? Imagine if that 60 or I know we live in a democracy, but imagine if that money was spent for cancer research or to a good charity. It didn't even get a seat.
No. And the advertisements were confusing and long, and you just flip the page. But when you're earning $1 million a day from your
but how much could that help others?
Agreed. And he's now said that. Somebody, probably within his family, have said you're embarrassing yourself, and it's bordering on immoral to be spending money on that when you could be doing good. So he has announced his permanent retirement from politics. Well, we'll wait to see that. And he's now going to direct funding to worthy causes.
Wouldn't that be great? That would be great. We'll watch that space with interest. Look, interesting how a week can change in politics. Anthony Albanese riding high last week. There's already reports today about those critical of some of the changes. He was always going to make changes, though, wasn't he?
Well, the factions still rule the Labor Party. Remember, Albanese gets to allocate ministries. The factions tell him who's to get them. So Attorney General Dreyfus is out. Ed Husic, Industry and Science Minister, is out. He's not going quietly. But it's just a simple matter of arithmetic. The left wing gains seats, so they need more ministries. The right wing have to surrender one cabinet position. Then it became a fight between the New South Wales right and the Victorian right as to who would sacrifice their cabinet minister. And the New South Wales right prevailed, and Victoria had to give up Dreyfus.
With a lot of the domestic stuff done and dusted, the election has happened. Our focus in many ways turns internationally. We've got the Prime Minister about to head to Indonesia, which of course is a vital relationship. what will this relationship with America be, with all the tariffs and the ramifications there? Anthony Albanese will no doubt meet with Trump at some point.
Yes, and Albanese's at the peak of his powers. He's regarded as a winner. He defied the odds to all intents and purposes. Trump likes that. I can remember Trump talking about Morrison won the unwinnable election of 2019. He was impressed by that and thought he was a winner. And the Indonesian president, the strong man of Southeast Asia, he will also recognise a successful leader when he sees one. So Albanese will be well received.
Is there an irony in an American Pope, a new Pope who's American, who's been critical of Trump and JD Vance in the past?
It's going to be fascinating, isn't it? If we just got another revolutionary Pope from Latin America, because that's where he basically grew up in the church, or if we got somebody who can bring and unite the church behind him. It'll be interesting to see. But I think his initial criticisms of Trump and Vance on immigration, it was misguided.
Finally, India and Pakistan, and it's not finally because it's that spot on the news order, because it's one of our lead stories today, and it's been a powder keg, of course, since 1948. This is troubling.
Absolutely. It's very worrying to see how quickly the facade of a truce or peace between the two nations has collapsed because of the Kashmir attack. And at this moment, it's escalating, but world powers in the United Nations are all trying to de-escalate it and just let everybody score what they need for their domestic audiences by punishing the other and sheathe their swords.
Finally, and a huge change of pace. You're still quite youthful. Any chance you might pop back to the Nationals?
No, nobody would want me to.
Oh, yes, they would. I think there's a few spots open for you. All right, we'll do it again.
They're not that desperate.
We'll do it again next week.
Thanks.
Thank you, Peter.